Your bird chirps the second it sees you walk into the room, and you've been calling it love for years. But the avian vets I've talked to will tell you something that completely changes how you read that sound. Most of what bird owners call affection is actually anxiety, and the way you respond to it every single day is making it worse. So what is your bird actually saying, and what are you supposed to do about it? I kept a green-cheeked conure named Pip for almost 2 years before I understood any of this. Every morning the routine was the same. I'd walk into the kitchen and she would go off, chirping, bouncing on the perch, throwing herself toward the bars. Not gently, like she had been waiting for me to come back and was now releasing 2 hours of built-up pressure in about 45 seconds. I thought I had the most affectionate bird on the planet. I told my friends that. I put it in videos. I took it as a compliment, proof that I was doing this right, that we had a bond worth having. Other bird owners nodded along. That's just how they show love, they'd say. And I believed them, because it felt true. Then my avian vet, Dr. Karen Snowden out of Portland, watched 30 seconds of footage I'd sent her. 30 seconds. And she said something I've been turning over in my head ever since. She said, "That bird is not happy to see you. That bird is relieved you came back." There is a difference between those two things. I had to sit with it for a while before I could feel it. But it is a real difference. And understanding it is the entire point of what I am about to tell you. Here is what no one explains to you when you bring a bird home. Birds are prey animals. Not in the abstract philosophical sense. In the literal, this is what everything wants to eat sense. Every piece of behavior a bird has evolved around the central problem of not being caught. And the biggest survival advantage a bird has is its flock. In the wild, a bird separated from its flock is not just lonely. It is exposed. Every hawk, every falcon, every cat within range knows that a lone bird is a soft target. The lone bird knows it too. So birds have a biological system built for one purpose. Stay in contact with the flock at all times. Know where everyone is. Confirm the group is intact. That system is the contact call. The chirp you're hearing when you walk through the door, the noise that goes up when you leave the room to get a glass of water. Every single one of those sounds is your bird running its flock confirmation protocol. Are you still there? Please answer. I need to know the group is intact. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. So when Pip chirped at me every morning, she was not celebrating my return. She was releasing the tension of the previous 2 hours. She had spent the morning in a state of low-level alert because the flock, which in her world was just me, had gone somewhere she couldn't see. The chirp when I walked in was relief, not joy. Relief. And every day for 2 years, I walked through that door and went straight to her cage and gave her exactly the response her anxiety was asking for. I confirmed that the call worked. I taught her, over and over again, that if she called loudly enough and long enough, the flock would return. Which means the next time I was out of sight, she called again. Louder, maybe, a little longer. Because that's how anxiety works. It doesn't get reassured, it gets practiced. That is the loop most bird owners are running right now, in homes all across the world, with birds they love and are accidentally making more anxious every single day. And the reason almost nobody knows it is that the advice circulating in pet stores, in beginner Facebook groups, in YouTube comment sections, is almost universally wrong. Talk back to it, they say. Mimic the call. Let it know you hear it. This feels kind. It feels like connection. And it is exactly what you should not do. Because every time you answer the call, you reinforce the call. You make the bird a little more certain that noise produces results. And a bird that has learned that noise produces results will produce more noise, more urgently, more often. That is not a personality. That is a training history. So what is your bird actually saying? And what are you supposed to do about it? That is what took me 3 different vets, a behavioral consultation I paid $400 for, and a lot of wrong answers to finally understand. Let me start with the thing most people have completely backwards. Because if you don't understand this one piece, nothing else I'm going to tell you will land. Birds do not vocalize the way mammals do. When we talk, we are transmitting information. When a bird contact calls, it is doing something closer to checking a pulse. It is not telling you it's happy. It is confirming that the flock still exists. That is the only purpose of the contact call. Flock confirmation. You are in the room, you are visible, but the moment you walk through a door and disappear from sight, as far as that bird's nervous system is concerned, you have left the flock entirely, maybe for good. Birds do not reason about where you went. They just know you are gone. The chirp that follows is a search signal. It is broadcasting. I am here. Are you still there? Please respond. Now here is the counterintuitive truth that avian vets understand and the general public almost never hears. The bird that chirps most loudly when it sees you is often the most anxious bird in the room. Not the most bonded, not the most affectionate, the most worried. A genuinely confident, secure bird is mostly quiet. It forages, it explores, it destroys things. It mutters softly to itself and grinds its beak when it's about to sleep and makes small exploratory noises when it's working on a puzzle toy. It does not need constant flock confirmation because it has internalized, at a deep level, that you come back. The anxious bird has not learned that yet, and the way most owners respond to it is reinforcing the lesson that you only come back when it calls. So how do you fix it? Let me walk you through what I did, step by step, in the order I did it. The first thing Dr. Snowden called the decode. Before you change anything, you need to understand what type of call you are actually hearing. Not all chirps are the same, and responding to them all the same way is the first mistake most people make. The contact call is what we've been talking about. Short, rhythmic, often repeated at steady intervals like a metronome. It is the flock confirmation signal. The alarm call is different. Sharper, louder, usually triggered by something external. A shadow across the window, the sound of a truck backing up, another bird visible outside. An alarm calling bird looks different. Feathers pressed flat, eyes wide, body rigid, neck stretched toward whatever scared it. A contact calling bird is relaxed in body, just pointed toward the door you disappeared through. The third sound is the contentment call, which is soft and variable and happens when the bird is alone and unbothered by that fact. Quiet muttering, beak grinding. Beak. Low warbles while it works on something. This is the sound you are trying to build more of. So step 1 is observation, nothing else. Watch your bird for 1 week without changing how you respond. Just identify how often the contact calls happen, how long they last, and what triggers them. You need the baseline before you can measure the change. Step 2 is the non-response. This is the intervention that feels the most wrong and produces results the fastest. When your bird fires off a contact call, you do nothing. You do not look at it. You do not speak to it. You do not walk toward the cage or away from it. You simply continue what you were doing as though you didn't hear it for a minimum of 3 seconds. 5 is better. 10 is better still. What those seconds are doing is beginning to sever the link between call and result. The bird calls. Nothing happens. It calls again. Still nothing. Eventually, and usually faster than you expect, it stops. And in that moment of silence, you speak. Calmly, from wherever you already are. A single quiet word. Not a rush to the cage. Not a treat. Just a calm acoustic signal that says, I am here, you are fine, and your silence produced this contact. Not your noise. That is the lesson. It takes repetition. The first few days, when you don't respond immediately, the bird may escalate, call louder, faster, more urgently. This is expected. It means the old strategy isn't working and the bird is trying harder. Hold the non-response through the escalation. It passes. What comes after it is usually several seconds of quiet that you immediately reward with a soft word from where you are. You are not ignoring the bird, You are teaching it a different way to reach you. Step 3 is the schedule anchor. Wild birds don't live in random time. They have a biological clock tied to light, and they organize their whole day around it. Wake at dawn, forage in the morning, rest at midday, forage again late afternoon, roost at dark. This is not flexible. It is the architecture their nervous systems were built around. A pet bird in a home with unpredictable hours, cover on, cover off, owner home early, owner home late, lights on at 9, lights on at noon, has no way to predict what comes next. And unpredictability is anxiety. It is that simple. The most structurally important thing I did for Pip cost me nothing. I put her on a schedule, and I kept it. Cover off at 7. 15 minutes of quiet while she woke on her own. Food at 7:15. My time with her from 7:30 to 8. Then I left. Midday rest with cover from noon to 2. Lights out at 9, every night. 2 weeks into this, the daytime contact calling had dropped by more than half. She had learned the pattern. She knew I came back at 6. The architecture of the day had become predictable enough that her nervous system could relax inside it. Step 4 is the foraging switch, and this is the step that makes the biggest difference for the smallest cost. A wild bird spends 4 to 6 hours a day finding food. A pet bird with a full dish finds its food in 45 seconds. What does it do with the next 5 hours? It calls, it paces, it plucks feathers it shouldn't touch, it screams. Because a bird with nothing to do is a bird with nothing to think about except where you are. The fix is simple, and it is cheap. Give the bird something to work for. A foot toy with a piece of almond inside a folded square of paper. A shreddable toy threaded through the cage bars. A small paper cup with a treat inside, top twisted shut, tossed on the cage floor. These are not fancy. I spent $6 on a bag of foot toys and a box of paper cups. Within 10 days, the afternoon contact calling was nearly gone. Pip was too occupied to worry about me. That is the goal. A busy bird is a quiet bird. A foraging bird is a confident bird. Every parrot rescue in the country knows this and will tell you it is the single most underused tool in behavioral care. Most pet stores will try to sell you a $100 toy. You need a paper cup and a piece of almond. Step 5 is the re-entry protocol, and this is the one I had completely wrong for the longest time. When you come home, what do? Most of us go straight to the bird. Bag down, keys on the counter, straight to the cage. Hello, how was your day? This feels like love. What it is confirmation. You left, the bird panicked. It called all afternoon, and the moment you walked in, you went to it. The entire anxiety loop is rewarded in one motion. The fix is uncomfortable, but it works. Come home, do your normal things, hang your jacket, get a glass of water, sit down on the couch, let the bird see that your return is unremarkable, not dramatic, not a reunion, just the ordinary rhythm of the day resuming. After 5 or 10 minutes of you being present and calm and not making eye contact with the cage, then go to the bird. Quietly, no big greeting. You are teaching the bird that your comings and goings are events of no particular significance, which means there is no particular reason to panic when you go. 2 weeks. That is the timeline. All 5 steps, 2 weeks, and you will have a measurably different bird. Not quieter in the way that worries you, not withdrawn or dull or sick. Quieter in the way of an animal that has places to be and things to do, and enough confidence in the structure of its day that it doesn't need to confirm your location every 4 minutes. Now let me tell you why this matters beyond the noise level in your living room. A chronically anxious bird is not just inconvenient. It is a bird under constant physiological stress. Cortisol running high, immune function suppressed, feather-destructive behavior that starts as occasional and can escalate into something that damages the bird's skin and takes years to reverse. Overbonding that turns into territorial aggression toward anyone who is not the primary person. Your kids, your partner, your guests. A shortened lifespan. These are not hypotheticals. These are the outcomes that avian vets see regularly in birds owned by people who love them completely and have simply never been told what the chirp means. The owners are not negligent, they are misinformed. On day one at the pet store, they were told to bond by responding, and they have been faithfully responding ever since, deepening the anxiety one answered call at a time. I want to be honest with you about something. When Dr. Snowden told me what I was doing wrong, my first reaction was not gratitude, it was guilt. 2 years. I had been running that loop with Pip for 2 years, and I had genuinely believed I was doing well by her. That is a hard thing to sit with. But here is what I have come to understand about bird ownership, and about a lot of things actually. Intention is not the same as outcome. You can love an animal deeply, and still be teaching it the wrong lessons every day, because no one gave you the right information at the start. That is not a character failure, it is an information failure. And information failures are fixable. The vet who finally changed my understanding said something I have repeated to every bird owner I know since then. A quiet bird is not a sad bird. A quiet bird is a confident one. That one sentence reorganized everything for me. We have been trained by dogs and cats, animals whose noise really does map onto happiness in ways we can read, to hear animal vocalization as animal joy. Birds are different. Their contentment, when it is real, is mostly silent. A bird that trusts its world doesn't need to broadcast into it every 30 seconds. It just lives in it. It forages. It sleeps in the afternoon with one foot tucked up. It grinds its beak softly at dusk, which is a sound that means everything is fine. That beak grind is the sound you are building toward. That is the goal. That is what 2 weeks of these 5 steps can get you. Here is what I want you to do tonight. Just one thing. The next time your bird contact calls from across the room, stop. Count to 5. Don't look at it. Don't speak. Don't go to it. Just hold the stillness for 5 seconds and see what happens. Does the bird call again and then settle into quiet? Or does it escalate? Louder, faster, more insistent? That single observation tells you where your bird is right now, and it tells you how much the next 2 weeks of work will need to do. Tell me in the comments, does your bird go quiet after a minute or two when you don't respond? Or does it escalate? That answer tells me more about your bird's anxiety level than almost anything else you could say. I read every one of these, and if you try the 5-second non-response tonight and notice something, I want to hear about it. Next time, I'm going to show you the one sound that every bird owner hears and completely misreads. It's not the chirp. It's quieter than that. And it's the sound you actually need to worry about. Stay with me for that one.